Hello and welcome to the studio. My name is Diane Bleck. I'm the founder of the Doodle Institute, and in this video we're going to go over the 5 essential things that you need to become a visual facilitator. These are the things that I would tell you if you walked right in my studio and I had a chance to sit down with you and share with you a little bit more about what it's like to build a career as a visual facilitator and the things that you need to get started. The 5 essential things that you need are: number 1, tools. What are the tools that you can use in your studio, but also in your travel bag when working with your clients? Number 2, what is the process? What is the process you use for sketching out an idea, drawing it large, and then creating it for a final product for your client? Number 3 is skills. How do you build a daily practice of creating a routine for building your skills and your visual toolkit, your icon library? Number 4 are your deliverables. How are you going to deliver your final product to your client in an award-winning way that they stand out and you stand out and you continue to get booked every year? And number 5 is the business. What are the essentials that you need to get started building your business? Now, all of these things are inside of the new visual facilitation training program. In this video, I'm going to cover what each of them are so that you just start to understand what are the foundations, what are the elements, what are the pieces of building a career as a visual facilitator. So let's start with number 1. Number 1 is tools, and you know that I love my Noyland markers. So let's go take a tour of my studio and look at all the fun markers that I have inside of my collection. Inside my studio, you're going to find all different sizes of Noyland markers, as well as some extra fun markers that you can play with. I also have some pan pastels, and then some larger markers, and acrylic markers and ink refills. Most of these products are by Noyland. Let me show you how I travel with them inside of my travel bag. This is my little travel case that I take with me whenever I'm working with my clients. I have it filled with Post-its, markers, rulers, pencils, and all the essentials that I need for whenever I'm drawing large with my clients. And it's so easy and handy to just throw in the front seat and take with me on my next gig. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit about how I scale my artwork using these markers. So if you are already a visual thinker, a sketchnoter, a planner, a doodler, someone who uses flip charts at your work, you know what it's like to draw large. But I want to share with you some of the tips about the process of how I sketch out an idea and then take it to become a large visual. So let me talk you through the exact process about how I created this visual behind me. Anytime I'm starting a new sketch, I always start out with a thumbnail. So you see where I've just created a simple frame. I've thought about the center being a brain. I threw around some different colors, and I was thinking about putting the titles next to it, and then I was thinking about the colors kind of going in a sequence. So I'm thinking through, how do I want to use the space on my page, even though it's small now and eventually it'll get larger. But it's a great way to just get out my markers, do a couple of quick sketches, and that way my clients, whenever I do this with them, they can either say, oh, I like that direction, or let's change it a little bit. But I always start with a thumbnail sketch, especially whenever I'm working large. I want to show you how it comes to life. So with my little thumbnail sketch, I now start playing with other tools. So I started with some pan pastels. These are like a little makeup compact of pastel that you can put on. It's like a chalk that you can put on with your finger or with a paper towel. My next favorite is this Crink ink. This is a liquid acrylic that lets you draw it on nice and smooth and get a really crisp, big, bold line. This is one of my absolute favorite new tools. And the other thing that I use for this poster are Neuland's large acrylic markers. They come in all these wonderful colors. They've got a nice big tip, and this is again acrylic paint. I wanted this poster to be really colorful and to really pop off the page. So I start with the Crink ink, and I'm gonna sketch the outline of the brain. And again, this is a liquid. It's not necessarily ink, but it's not quite paint. And it allows me to get nice, big, bold, crisp, clean lines. So the first thing I did is I drew the brain down, and I do want to recommend that you have a second piece of paper underneath your drawing because this is a paint. Sometimes it can pop through your drawing. Once I have the outline of the brain, I'm adding a couple of little details. Then I'm ready to start adding some more color to it. For this poster, I'm playing with two other different types of tools to demonstrate for you. I'm going to use the acrylic markers as well as the pan pastels. With the acrylic markers, I'm just making some large, colorful circles on the page. This is a paint. It's a nice big wide tip marker. I'm taking the different colors of the rainbow. I'm just adding some polka dots to the brain, and then I'm gonna add circles to the right of it for the different names of the modules of the course. And so as I finish going through all the different colors, then I'm ready to start playing with the pan pastels. The pan pastels, you can apply them with your finger, you can use a makeup applicator, or I'm just using a little piece of paper towel. And this is chalk, so it's a nice lightweight color. It allows me to get a lot of color on the page really quickly. I'm able to blend the colors together, so I really like that look for the back of the brain. And then I'm showing you the Crink ink one more time for coloring the little eye in the corner. I really wanted you to see how wonderful and thick and great this line is with the Crink ink. One of my absolute favorites for drawing large scale visuals. You can kind of see there's a second page underneath. And then I filled it in with my additional Neuland markers. And this is what it looks like in the studio as I'm coloring it and bringing it to life. This is what it looks like whenever it's all pulled together. It's big, it's colorful, it's engaging. And the most important thing is that it doesn't have to be perfect. When you're working with your clients as a visual facilitator, think of this as your large sketchbook. This is for pulling out ideas. This is for brainstorming. This is about a process. Visual facilitation is about owning the process of ideation, of innovation. So the next thing that you're going to want is your skills. And I'm always working on my skills. I have a daily practice of drawing and practicing my skills. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit of the tips about how I draw and how I continue to practice my drawing skills. So let's go look at one of my journals that I carry with me every single day. I carry a journal with me everywhere I go as a way for me to play and practice. So sometimes I'm working on my fonts, sometimes I'm working on little people, but I'm always practicing and drawing. And by making this a daily habit, I'm growing my skills every day. And this daily practice helps me have more ideas whenever it's time to come and draw a large-scale visual for one of my clients. All right, let's review what we've learned about so far. Number one, we have talked about tools. Number two, I shared with you the process about how I scale an idea. Number three, I shared with you how to continue to build your skills and your icon library. Number four is about your deliverables. How are you going to take the ideas that you generate as a visual facilitator and hand them over to your client as an award-winning deliverable so that you stand out as well as your client? So let me take you on a quick little tour of my iPad, which is one way that I create amazing deliverables for my client. When it comes to creating deliverables for my clients, one of my favorite things to use is my iPad. My iPad allows me to take things that I draw by hand and make them look just the same, if not a little bit better on my iPad. And then I can take this image and I can add it to a PowerPoint, I could add it to an infographic, I could print it out large. but it's a way to make the content editable too. And everything is created on different layers so that you have the outlines, the color, and the backdrop, each on their own layer, so it makes it very easy to make edits for your clients. And I'll show you step by step exactly how to do this inside of the new visual facilitation training program. You've seen a little bit more about deliverables. And the fifth thing that I think is extremely important that I'm going to teach you all about inside of the visual facilitation training is about the business. How do you find your ideal client? How do you create contracts with your client? How do you scale your business whenever you need a couple of extra people to help you with all of your events throughout the year? So the biggest part of this new training program that is new is about the business side of it. And so we're going to cover contracting. I'm going to share with you some documents on how to create and capture your clients, how to ensure they keep coming back every year, and ways that you can use social media to share what you're doing and stand out in the online world. So that is a taste of the behind the scenes of the visual facilitation training program that you have access to right now. Now, I want you to know this training is only available for a little bit of time, and then it's going inside of the Doodle Institute, and it will be available to my students. But there will also be, remember, 8 other modules that are going to cover everything from your creative mindset to building your visual vocabulary to building your practice, your confidence, and on and on. So I hope to see you inside the new visual facilitation training program, where we're going to spend 8 weeks together launching you as a visual facilitator for next year.